Hey everyone, Alex from Nami Audio here. Hope you're all doing great. Today I'd like to walk you through the latest library, which I'm really excited about as it is the first one I didn't do just by myself. Indeed, for this beautiful project I worked with the French producer, beatmaker and now friend Red. We spent over 2 years in the making, crafting sounds, mangling them into a wide range of effects, and building the perfect user interface, offering you a rich yet simple to use instrument that we are really proud of. So without further ado, let's have a look at Mass. So what is Mass exactly? Well, at first our goal was to create 808 and subs for music like trap, drill, hip-hop, you know, the kind of music that is in demand of heavy low ends. But as the development went on, we quickly realized we could do more about the sound and push them further into new horizon, allowing you to play Mass on any of your tracks. With all that being said, the real magic for me in this library lives in the 3 layers engine, allowing you to blend 3 types of sounds together, add a wide selection of effects, creating sounds from simple and hard 808s to beautiful sound atmospheres. Now, before playing some sounds, let's have a quick walkthrough of the interface. It is divided into 2 main sections, and the top one is for the layers. Its main view displays for each layer a volume control, an on-off switch, and a quick access sound menu. And by clicking on any layer label, you'll access its full page, giving you access to more advanced controls, such as individual ADSR, tuning, filter, and some other fun stuffs. And on the bottom of the interface is the effect section. And like for the layers, its main view displays 1 control per effect, and if you click on the labels, you'll be able to tweak all remaining controls. What's great with this UI for me is that its main view is really simple and easy to read. So if you're just a beginner, you'll be able to use it really quickly. But if you want to go deep into sound designs and tweak some advanced parameters, you are basically just 1 click away from it. Okay, now let's have a closer look at each layer and see what they are all about. So the first one is Sub, and it offers a set of 31 patches from some classic synthesizers. So for example, we sampled the ARP 2600, the Juno 6 and 106, TB303, MS20, DX7, but most of all this layer features 808 sounds that we carefully crafted using a modular system and processed through Pultec EQs, NIF compressors, or a Culture Vulture for nice saturation. As it is the main focus of the library, we'll start by having a listen at these 808 sounds. But as I'm really bad at playing this type of sounds, I'll let Red show them to you. Now let's have a listen at some analog synthesizer patches. While we are on this sound, let's talk a bit about the glide. And as you may have heard, this library is monophonic, meaning it can only play one note at a time. As a consequence, we really wanted to include a comprehensive yet simple glide section, allowing you to get the most out of this just one voice, and to make the instruments as expressive as possible. So on the effects section, you'll see there's a glide control, which sets the glide time. In other words, it sets how long it takes for a note to glide to the next one. So for example, if I have this control at 0, this is how it sounds. And now let's put a high value just to hear the effects. This is great and everything, but I hear you already. Yeah, it's a glide, like any standard synthesizer. Why are you so excited about it? Well, first, because glide is cool. And second, because this one does more than just what I showed you here. If you click on the glide label like any other effect, you'll access its advanced settings page, allowing you to drastically change the behavior of the instrument. The first control is an on-off switch, and actually it does more than just activating or deactivating the glide. When set to on, like it is for now, the instrument behaves like a hardware monophonic synthesizer, meaning the amp envelope won't be triggered again if previous notes haven't been released. So here, for example, if I play each note individually, this is how it will sound. Every key here is triggering new samples and from the beginning. Now if I play the same thing but with notes that are overlapping, I'll actually pitch up or down the samples. So here I've loaded a simple patch just to really hear the effects of the glide. But if I load a more complex one, having the glide even with its time at 0 can result in crazy sounds as you'll speed up or slow down the samples. So here I've just played one note from this beautiful optic light preset from the mass layer that we're gonna see a little bit later. Now if I play again this same note, but by having played one note higher before, I'll actually stretch down the samples from the first note to the new key pitch. So here for example, I get all the feedback's loveliness and grit, but slow down with all its beautiful artifacts. It's almost like a half-speed effect. And now if I do the opposite, so playing a lower note before the new one, this is what you'll get. As you can hear, it's totally different. Now it's harsh, aggressive, and modulations are occurring more often. Now let's go back to our previous sound, but with the glide off. In this mode, it not only deactivates the effect regardless of the time value, but it also changes how the instrument is reacting to new played notes. Now it will behave like a sampler in your digital audio workstation, meaning every note is triggering the envelope again and new samples are triggered. So if you want every note to have the same punch, to retain its quality and start from the beginning of the samples, having the glide off is the best solution. This mode works particularly great on short sounds like acid basses or donk, since having the glide on could sometimes result in the sound to almost disappear at times. For example, if I play this big acid sound from the sub layer with the glide on, this is how it sounds. See? No sound. Now let's set the glide to off. And as a side note, if you go into the lowest key range of your keyboard, you'll see there are two key switches, allowing you to easily toggle between these two modes in real time. This is quite useful for programming the glide on your MIDI regions in your DAW, but it's also quite fun for adding expression to the instruments while playing it live. And finally, the glide offers a legato switch, only available when the module is on. This control lets you define how and when the glide effect is occurring. As far as I understand it, legato means linking notes together. So if I have this switch to on, the glide will only be heard on notes that are overlapping. And if you want the glide to always be heard, you just have to set this switch to off, and the glide will be heard regardless of your playing on the keyboard. Now I would like to walk you through the second layer, which is actually the one we spent the most of our sampling time. Named like the library itself, this layer is the core of the instruments, and it offers 34 patches, many of which being the 808 samples being processed through an amazing range of units for complexes modulations, heavy distortion, or unheard textures. Just to name a few, we used Echoplex tape echoes, Fairchild Eventide harmonizer, vintage Oberheim and Maestro pedals for filtering, phase shifting, or ring modulation, Trident and Boss mixers from the 70s and 80s, but we also used some modern gears as well, like the Moisturizer Spring Tank, Soma Instruments Lyra 8, or the beautiful light pedal from Game Changer Audio. Finally, you have the pure layer, which is the simplest of the three, with its main goal being to add that extra definition to the sound when crafting your patches. It features 12 oscillators from a couple of synthesizers and a noise patch. So here I've just loaded the Modular Madness patch from the mass layer, and this is how it sounds by itself. Now let's say I want to add an extra oscillator just to beef up a little bit the sound. So I'm going to go in the pure layer, activate it, and I'm going to listen to some of them. Perfect. Again, as I said in the beginning of the video, the big asset of this library for me is the 3 layers engine. At any time you are able to blend 3 sounds together and mangle them, allowing you to get a massive range of sound possibilities. To showcase how everything is working, let's continue working on this patch a bit. So it's already quite good, but I'd like it to evolve over time and to add some interest. So what I'm going to do is go into the mass layer and raise its attack, so the sound comes later than the sawtooth. And now I'm going to change the ADSR on the pure layer as well, just to get the attack portion of the sound. So I'm going to lower the sustain up to 0, raise a bit the attack, and this is how it sounds. And now let's tweak the release, and if I want both layers to have the same settings, for instance, I can just hit this link switch. Now any ADSR adjustment on one layer will be applied on all layers as well. This is quite useful if you want to create this massive wall of sound while still adjusting everything all at once as a cohesive patch. But here, this is not what I want to do, and actually I want the patch to be even more complex. So I'm going to add the last layer. So let's go into the home page, activate the sub layer, and actually let's find a sound that I like. Nice. And on this one, actually, I will not only raise the attack, but also tune it differently. So that way I have a 5th coming in later on the sound. While talking about the tune, I would like to show you the 2 different modes you have to tune each layer. The one I'm currently at is transpose. This mode offsets MIDI notes from your keyboard or sequencer to access new notes. For example, if I play a C on my keyboard, it will actually reach the higher G on this layer only. And the second mode is tune, and this one doesn't change the MIDI notes, but instead pitches the samples accordingly. To sum up, if you want to pitch a layer while retaining its tonal quality, you would use transpose. But if you want to go crazy and stretch the samples in weird ways, tune is your best friend. To demonstrate this, I have this rusty patch from the mass layer, and this is how it sounds with the transpose mode. And now let's set it to tune. See? Completely different. Now let's go back to our patch and finesse it a bit. So first I'm going to tune each layer differently. So this one is play the 5th, so maybe I can remove some low frequencies. And on the contrary, the pure layer, I could filter a bit the highs. Now I want to glue everything together, so I'm going to add a little bit of saturation. Yeah, cool. Maybe some wah and flutter as well. And some reverb. And finally, I would just like a little bit of delay, but I don't want it on everything. And actually, if you look closely, when you are on an effect settings page, you have these 3 little dots on top of the layers volumes. These allow you to define if the effect should be applied or not on a particular layer. For instance, I just want it on the pure layer, so I will uncheck from the other 2 layers. And this works in the other way around as well, meaning if you are on a layer while having all main controls of the effects on the bottom half of the interface, you'll be able to set which effects are applied on that layer only. So again, let's say I want to add some flanger on the sound, like so, but I don't want it on the pure layer, so I can go into the pure and just uncheck this. And if you are a bit lost on what's activated where, you can go at any time on the matrix page. Here you'll be able to do all I showed you just previously, but in one simple window and with only a few clicks. Let's say I don't want the compression to be applied on the mask layer, for example, I can just hit this and there you go, no compression on it. If I want to remove the color from the pure layer, hit this one and there you go. And let's say I don't want any effects to be applied on the sub layer, I just have to do this. One last thing I'd like to mention regarding the effects is this control in the advanced settings page, which is called send mode. Basically, both the delay and reverb are set up as send effects. So by playing with the amount controls, you are not changing the output section of the effects, but rather the amount of signal that is sent into them. Changing this mode will actually change from where the signal is sent to these effects. When having it on post, the signal is sent after the layer volume, meaning the more volume I have, the more signal will be sent into these effects. Here I just have the pure layer activated with the send mode to post. So this is how it sounds. And as you can hear, as I increase the layer volume, I hear more reverb as well. And if I set this volume to 0, no reverb is heard. Now, if I set this menu to pre, the signal will be sent before the layer volume controls. This means even at 0%, a layer will still be sent to this signal, resulting in only hearing the wet signal of the effects. And now let's add again some dry signal on top. One cool trick I like to do myself is having the send mode to pre and only activating the reverb on one layer. Once done, I set its volume at 0, and in this scenario I can create a ghost-like reverb that I shape and tune using both the reverb and layer settings. So for example, I have this donk bass here. Now let's go into the send mode, set it to pre, only activate the reverb on the pure layer. And I'm going to go on this layer and set its volume at 0. Now let's raise the reverb, and I'm going to change the tuning on the pure layer to 1 octave higher than the donk. Now let's change a bit the sound. So we only scratched the surface of what this library can do. And this is why we wanted with Red to create as many snapshots as possible, so you can easily find the perfect sound you're looking for and quickly get inspired by them. And actually, I'm going to leave you here with some snapshot demos made by the both of us. Before doing so, I'd just like to have a few words regarding the software requirements. For those who have been following me for a little bit, you may have seen that my latest libraries haven't been released on KONTAKT Player. But for this one, we really wanted to have an instrument as accessible as possible. So I'm really happy to say that Mass comes and works with the free KONTAKT Player software. This also means it is NKS compatible, so you have a full integration over native instrument softwares and hardwares, allowing you to take profits of tag, previews, light guides, and many more. Alright, that's it from us. I hope you like it as much as we enjoyed developing it, and that you'll find inspiration with it. Take care, and I'll see you again very soon.